But let's go to the Ravens because I think over the last couple of weeks they've been the most impressive. And I don't think if you look at the stretch that they've had, even when San Francisco beat the brakes off the Cowboys, they went to the Eagles and beat the brakes off them. They went to Jacksonville and they beat some teams. But if you look at what the Ravens have done, they did a demolition job. Hold on, let me find this game up here. Right there. You know, I feel like the Minority Report. When you drop, this is the second best team now. Remember now, they went on the road last week and beat the number one team by 14. This is the second best team in the AFC, and they dropped 50.
Right, offensively,
they're the second best team in the AFC. You said Miami Dolphins were the second best team in the AFC. That's what you've been telling me for the last 6 weeks.
Offensively, yes.
So where did they rank as a team in the AFC before you saw Baltimore do what they did today? Where would you rank Miami? Because that's not what you've been saying. Go ahead.
Oh, I remember what I've been ranking the Miami Dolphins extremely high because of Tua, Tyreek, and what they've been able to do offensively. The defense is okay. It's okay. It's not the type of defense like Baltimore has where there's no weak link anywhere.
Well, who have a complete team? You have to look at San Francisco to say they're as complete from top to bottom as the Baltimore Ravens.
But top to bottom, and you saw what the Ravens did to them, huh?
But we had Miami in everybody's power ranking polls. The Miami Dolphins were the third best team, or no worse than fourth of all the teams ranked. If you in the AFC, they were second best, and they just got 56 hung on them. And and so you look at Baltimore, you look at what they did to Detroit, you look at what they did to Seattle, you look at what they did to San Francisco, you look at what they did to Miami. This is a team that you don't want to fool with because they can run it. You look at what they had: Gus Edwards, 16 rushes, 66 yards; Hill, 3 rushes, 45 yards; Lamar Jackson, 6 for 35. Melvin Gordon even got into the action. He only had 10 yards, had longer 7, but he got a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, 15 of 21, 321, 5 touchdowns, a perfect Q-back rating. That's his third one.
This season.
That's the third one of his career. In general.
In general. Okay.
Same as Peyton Manning, the same as Tom Brady, the same as Kurt Warner. All those guys are retired. So Lamar Jackson has an opportunity. It's something about Miami because he had another perfect quarterback rating against Miami. You remember he opened up the season in 2019 when he won the MVP. He threw for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, that season.
And so it's something about Miami. Maybe he's like, man, y'all should have took me. Maybe it's he know all the homies and the family. He's from that area. They're watching him play. And so he put on the show. But the Ravens put everybody on notice last week with what they did. Now they had everybody's undivided attention, Ocho, because Monday night, everybody, they ain't no other game on. So they did what they did to the 49ers. Many believe that was the best team in football, and they beat them by 2 touchdowns. Now we come, and everybody has started to feel good about the Dolphins because they had just beat the Cowboys. And, bro, you got 56 dropped on you?
Yeah. And listen, it's different. It's different. I don't know how to explain it. It's something about the Ravens. Obviously, defense, that AFC North, they play a different kind of football. They play a different kind of football defensively. I'm gonna just start there. They play a different kind of football defensively. Then on the flip side of things, the supporting cast that Lamar Jackson has now, the year that he won the MVP in 2019, it's much better. The onus in having to have success offensively it isn't all on his shoulders. Bateman coming through, Zay Flowers going crazy, Odell making clutch catches, doing what we're used to seeing him do, and the running game is efficient as well. So it's like there's a balance of everything, and then Lamar, he's dropping back the pass and only running when he has to because everything else around him is efficient and working really well. And then the defense is playing phenomenal football.
Man, Ocho, you look at what they did, give Todd Monken a lot of credit. The way he's come in, he's put Lamar in a system where Lamar feels very, very comfortable. We know Lamar has legs. We know the Ravens can run the football. But now it's a lot of 5-man out. It's not dependent on the tight end. Even though, and I think some of the best thing, and you hate to see Mark Andrews go out, but it forced Lamar to focus a little bit more on his receivers. Now he still has Likely that can go make plays for him. That one-hand catch on fourth down that ended up being a touchdown because it was a tremendous catch and run by him. But now they have receivers. You look at Zay Flowers, 3 catches, 106 yards, 75 yards. Just
crazy.
I love what Todd Monken did. They got the running back matched up on the linebacker. Go ahead.
Hold on.
somebody having kid problems. But the Ravens, man, they look good. The Ravens, ladies and gentlemen, the Ravens have won 6 straight games since week 11. Since a week 11 home loss to the Cleveland Browns. And when you look at what they've done, they beat the number 1 team in the NFC, the number 1 team. I mean, what the Ravens are doing, there's a difference between beating teams and beating teams up. Hey, baby, why you crying? What daddy do?
Say hi.
How you still up this time of night?
Okay, go. Go play with Sissy.
And Ocho, I was telling the our listeners in the chat. I said there's a difference between beating teams and then beating teams up.
Right.
They're beating teams up.
Right.
They're physically, and that's the one thing about the Ravens. If you beat the Ravens, you got to out physical them. And they ain't cute.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna do all that razzle dazzle. They ain't got a whole bunch of trick plays. They line up and they punch you in the mouth, and then you better punch them back.
Right in the mouth. And you know what the funny thing about it is, the AFC North has always been like that. It's always been like that. I always call it a 2-chin strap game. Anytime we had to play a division opponent, we had to play the Steelers, you had to play the Browns, or you had to play the Ravens. You got to bring your hard hat. You got to bring your hard hat, because all that playing pretty and hitting people and getting up and tapping them on the shoulder, good, ain't none of that. I mean, it's personal for some reason. It's personal every time you play them boys, and it showed today. It's a very physical game.
The game. You know when the game flipped, when the Dolphins had to settle for that field goal, Tyreek had a touchdown and he bobbled it in the sun.
Yeah. Right. And listen, the game started out good though, Unc. I thought it was going to be a scoring fest back to back. And I tweeted it out. I said, you know what, the Dolphins scored. I said, you know what, the Ravens will go back and answer. The Ravens are going to go down and answer, because it always happens like that when the game starts out, until the defenses settle in. And then from that point on, it becomes the chess match between the coordinators. I'm going to put my pieces in a better position to beat your pieces, and you go from there. Then after Tyreek bobbled that ball and they had to get a field goal, man, it was a runaway train from that
Tua
point
started
on.
Turning the ball over. You know, Ocho, you know, you and I, we kept those receipts, right? You know, we keep receipts.
Yeah,
everybody keeping receipts. You know what I'm saying? He had a good game. I keep receipts. I keep receipts. Okay.
Right.
Baltimore say we kept receipts too.
Receipts too. Right. And you know what? On 2 of those interceptions, I don't know why, but every time the Dolphins line up in that tight split with the receiver on the outside edge of the numbers on both sides, it's the same bang 8 every time. The bang 8 like you used to run. Yes, baby. Okay. I got you. Yeah, every time. And both times they ran the bang 8 from the tight split, it was an interception.
Because all they're gonna do is they're gonna fake it and they're gonna try to hit. And Roquan made a great play on the ball.
And Roquan, he followed the eyes the first time. And the second time it was another pick. And even if he did complete it, it was gonna be an interception because the DB was right there on it. He ran the route for the receiver.
And they were bothering Tua because Tua was high. He almost got Tyreek hurt on that sideline throw. He overthrew him, and Tyreek tried to make a play on the ball. So he was really high today. People are bringing up Lamar's stat. Lamar Jackson is tied for 10th in passing touchdowns, 24. He's ranked 13th in passing yards, 3,678. Only 2 quarterbacks have ever won the MVP while finishing outside of the top 5 in both categories. Steve McNair did in 2003, and Bart Starr in 1966. But I think because the Ravens have been so good, and Lamar Jackson has been he's not going to have 40 touchdowns, ladies and gentlemen. He's not going to throw for 45.
The offense isn't even built like that anyway.
What he's done, because when you go back and look at the Lions are going to the playoff. They're the third seed in the NFC. He took them apart. It looks like Seattle has a chance to make the playoffs. He took them apart. The 49ers are the number 1 seed. He took them apart. Miami have an opportunity to win the division and be the number 2 seed in the AFC. Right. He took them apart. So when you look at his body of work and the teams that he did a number on, I don't know who else you can give the MVP to.
You have to give it to him because obviously we were talking Purdy. We were screaming Purdy. We were screaming Purdy. We were screaming Purdy. Then we were screaming Dak. I thought the 49ers looked like a team that wasn't going to lose. I almost had them locked to go to Vegas and win in Lombardi based on the way they were playing offensively and the way they were playing defensively. I'm like, ain't no way in hell anybody going to beat them. Then I think about the Ravens coming to town. Oh my goodness. It's almost as if they don't even belong on the field with them boys. That's what it looked like. They dominated on both sides of the ball. All 3 phases of the game. They dominated offense, they dominated special teams, and they dominated on defense. Then they come back again and do the same thing today to the Dolphins.
See, the Dolphins got questions, Ocho, because you remember early in the season, they went on the road to Buffalo, and Buffalo dropped the 50 bomb on them. After they had just dropped 70 on the Broncos. And I was like, Now, it kind of eased people's mind a little bit because they beat the Cowboys because that was at home. And that's the only team that they've beaten with a winning record. But now you have to have even more questions than answers because they went on the road and they didn't look like they belong in the same book. They don't even belong on the same shelf as the Ravens. The Ravens took them apart. Right. Outside of the first quarter of the game, it was never close. I don't think it was in anybody's mind, a doubt in anyone's mind that the Ravens were going to win this game. The question was how much. Now I picked the Ravens to win this game. I don't think anybody had it 56-19, Ocho.
No, not by that much. Obviously, with as efficient as the Dolphins' offense has been all season long, I expect it to be a shootout, a continuous shootout.
Kind of like last year. With me Week 2 last year, it ended up being 42, 45, 38, something like that.
Yeah, but what the defense, what the Raven defense was able to do, they were able to make Tua uncomfortable. They were able to get him off his spot, so he couldn't sit and make some of the throws. Being that he's a timing passer, and that offense it relies on timing a lot. But his timing was thrown off the entire time because of the defense.
And they did a great job. And they did this without Marlon Humphrey for a large part of the game because he went out like the first and second series, and so they were able to do this without Hump. The Dolphins got some questions. So now the question is, what Miami Dolphins team is going to show up at home? Because the winner of the Buffalo Miami, that's who's going to win the division.
Yeah. You think after getting the 50 burger, I call it 50 burger, after they had a 50 burger hung on them the first time, there's no way in hell they allow the Bills to come in town and hang another 50 burger on them again. So this is a game that they have to win because this is as close to the playoffs as you're going to get because these are the type of teams that you're going to play. It's a division opponent. You know them very, very well. And I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game as it was the first time, but you got to show up. You got to show up. The offensive line has to give Tua time to throw, to step into his throws. They got to move Tyreek around. Brother Wilson has to show up. Robbie Anderson, Brother Claypool, Jalen Waddle will be back as well, and I think they'll be fine. Hope Mostert, who has, I think, maybe a knee or maybe an ankle problem, they should have their entire squad back for that game, so they should be fine.
Achan ran the ball extremely well. He was 14 carries, 107 yards. So they were more than adequate in the run game. But kind of when you fall behind, Ocho, you're at the mercy of the pass game. So now you got to pass to try to get back into the ball game. The Ravens know you have to pass the football. So now they're really pressuring Tua. And he's not a guy, he's not very mobile. He can slide a little bit, but he's not a guy that you're afraid of taking off, that he jumps out the window. He's going to take off and kill you with his legs. Buffalo beat them, if I'm not mistaken, I think the score was 48-20. The question is, which quarterback is going to take better care of the football? Both of these quarterbacks have the propensity of turning the ball over. Josh Allen, they got lucky today that they were playing the New England Patriots, and Bailey Zappi turned the ball over 3 times in like 4 possessions. And then Josh Allen let them right back in the game by turning the ball over himself. We saw Tua. Both of these guys have a propensity. They can have anywhere between 1 and 4 turnovers at the drop of a hat. You turn the ball over multiple times, that's the team that's going to probably end up losing the game. And so it's going to be very interesting to see which team can take care of the football the best, and because that's the team that's going to win this division.